Hey guys, Seth and Danny here from Jump Ship, bringing you part 2 of how we got there, talking about Jump Ship's move to Hawaii and everything in between. Last we left off, we were on our way to Florida to buy CrossFit Deerfield Beach and start our new life down there. So take it away.
Yeah, so we wanted to move down to Florida, get away from the cold was the biggest thing. So we were kind of just like looking for gyms, and we had talked to a couple others, but nothing really came of it. And then we found CrossFit Deerfield Beach for sale. It was just like listed on a regular website, which like people are always like, how do you find what gyms are for sale? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I just keep stumbling upon them, word of mouth,
so
Google,
many different places.
Yeah, there's no right answer for like how to figure out a gym's for sale. But yeah, so this gym was for sale. It was pretty expensive for kind of what we were expecting, I guess. But the gym was super successful, and it had a longtime owner, Gabby. She was awesome. She actually won the Masters games. What was it? I don't want to say 60 plus and have her get mad, but
I think it was.
Yeah, she won the games a few years back as a Masters athlete. So she's a great athlete. The gym was very she had developed like a very strict but like great culture there. There was never a speck of chalk on the floor. Yeah. You would never not put your equipment away. Like the gym was treated very well, which was great. So yeah, we kind of went in there and I don't even know. Like it was just different. Like it was the first time that we had owned a gym together.
I think that's the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had come from the way that he had done it, and I had that was what, your third or fourth gym at that point, maybe?
Yeah.
That was the Florida gym was my third gym. So we're trying to take the things that each of us like and how we're used to running a business and then trying to morph it together.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of our relationship growth, was because we hadn't even really discussed what it would look like to operate a gym together and what our expectations were before we bought this. We just went into it and said, we both run gyms, let's see how it goes. But my previous situation was very much gyms secondary by a long shot, and online business was the priority, whereas hers was very much the gym is the number one priority no matter what. And we hadn't really...
And you had also had business partners.
Both of
my gyms, it was me by myself. Right. So whatever So the camera battery just died. So kind of what I was getting at was that I had these gyms all by myself. So I never had to ask anybody. I never ran anything by anybody. I just did what I thought was best for my gyms. But now we have to figure this out together and take the good things that we've both learned and try to put them into one business.
So what month was this that we got down there? Was it May or something? No, April. And this is April 2018, I think.
19?
I have this right? Is that
2019.
Right?
April 2019.
Yeah, okay. All right. So so at that time still, I was also still working for my past company too. So I had an arrangement to work remotely, whereas the gym was going to be her major project. I was going to kind of assist with some coaching and cleaning and all the stuff that I would have to do. And then come post games that year, August 2019, I guess it was, me and my previous company completely parted ways. It was a sudden, done. And that changed a lot of things for us, because now we had kind of uprooted our lives. We had multiple income sources at one point that we had kind of based our growth of our life in Florida on, that ended instantly.
And also besides that too, we had... Part of the reason we had decided on Florida was because you wanted to stay on the East Coast, which is fine.
Right.
But backtracking a tiny bit of time, I had a gym that was doing decent in California. So we kind of made all of these decisions to sort of accommodate a situation that in the end wasn't worth it.
100%.
But again, it's all everyone, it happens for a reason. So it's fine. It was just at the time super irritating to be we just took 50 of these steps for this, and now we didn't need to, shouldn't have, kind of whatever.
Yeah, and it happened pretty abruptly for us. So now all of a sudden, 6 months really into our journey, we have to make some big decisions as to what direction we're going to go together. We're kind of now, the two of us flying solo, trying to figure everything out. The gym's going pretty well. Yeah. When we first took over ownership, as any ownership transition happens, if some of you have done this before, you'll find that it's difficult, right? There's a lot of unsure members, there's a lot of change. People just don't like change, and it makes it tough. So that revenue that you see when you buy the gym inevitably always dips a little bit, and then it takes a lot of work and building to kind of get it back. But I think by that point we'd actually built it back, and then maybe even a little above where it was.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge from that gym too, like I said, it had a very strong and established culture. So like it took a longer time than maybe we would have expected for people to like trust us and kind of believe that like whatever decision we're making, whether it's moving equipment or like whatever decisions we decided to make, schedule, whatever it was, that like we were truthfully trying to make the best decision for the business.
Right.
But like if you affect one person negatively, so you remove their favorite class time, they're mad at you.
And they tell their friends how mad they are at you.
But like in the grand scheme, like maybe they're not understanding, oh, we have to do this for financial reasons, for staffing reasons, for whatever the case is. And like I think I also need to try to remember that myself, that like you just really can't make everybody happy, and you need to like look at the big picture of your company and try to see like how, like what the best decision is for all of those things. But like you're just, someone is always going to be upset with every decision, and if you have a gym of 150 people, like you just have to please the majority. Like it's just really difficult to make every single person happy.
Yep, that's really tough. So, but we did do okay. We were starting to earn the trust back at that point, and by the end of 2019, we started to realize like we needed something additional to the gym. Though we weren't going to be able to kind of support. It's not really two people's full-time income, to just put it bluntly. So. When my job ended, we decided like, is Seth going to go out and get a real world job, which I've done it before, and I didn't.
He quickly said no.
I didn't want to do it again.
He refused to get a real full-time job.
It's not in my blood anymore, I guess. And then so we put our heads together quite a bit. Going back into the programming world for me seemed natural and seemed like I was just comfortable with that, and that was really what I had been spending the previous almost 10 years on at that point. And there was some back and forth ideas, and out of the blue, she kind of just said, all right, if you're going to do a programming company, I have the name for it. It's going to be called Jump Ship, and it's gonna stick in people's heads, and it's going to send a message, and this is what we're going to do. And I said, okay, let's get to work. And by end of December, early January
we started in the beginning of January.
So we launched it officially.
Started the concept in that December, and then it started officially in January. But yeah, I feel like with that, like, coming from his background with programming, like I had followed his old program for a long time and like was constantly beat to shreds, like just, and maybe, he likes to always say, well, you didn't follow the instructions. Well, no one does. So
that's the problem.
That's the problem. So like when we kind of came up with the new concept for Jump Ship, it was almost selfishly, like for me, like I still wanted to be competitive and still wanted to be fit, but didn't want to have to follow like a scaled program, but also didn't have time, because now we're operating multiple businesses. We had a house, we got dogs, we got, stuff to take care of. I'm like, I can't spend 3 or 4 hours a day training 2 times a day. Like it just doesn't exist. So that was kind of the whole idea of like, how do we make a concise program that's still super effective, but like works for people with like real lives, which is like everybody.
Right. And on top of that, like we needed a niche. So like taking that idea and that concept was a natural fit, because we were basically going to launch a brand new programming company in the most competitive time there's ever been programming companies. Like every past games athlete thinks they're automatically a coach once they're retired. Every, coach who got lucky with one athlete thinks they have the best program. And I'm not saying we have the best program, I'm just saying everyone is trying to grab money from it. And so launching a new competitor program in the heat of all that was like, oh boy, we're just wasting our time. Like we're gonna get 7 people interested. Like my last company has all my previous clients wrapped up. Like we're in big trouble. And but that wasn't the case. We launched it. The support from a lot of you guys watching and people that watched it, like, couldn't believe it. We put the concept out there and people took to it and started instantly to improve on this concept that we kind of just like, we spent a long time.
Well, it was like exactly the point is all you people who follow are just like, oh, that makes sense. Like I still want to train hard, but I don't have time to do like any of these other programs, And
my body doesn't cooperate when I do all this.
I think most of the other competitor programs are geared exactly at like really top level athletes who might just be CrossFit coaches, or maybe they're like students, so they have like more free time. But like most people who have like jobs that like require hours, whether like it's just hard. You just don't have like you just can't do it.
Yeah. So anyway, at that point, it's January through whatever, it starts to grow, a pretty good following. We're trying to put our efforts towards that while we're balancing the gym. 3 months into it, it's March 2020. Everyone knows what happened in March 2020. So COVID hits. We are, first to close the gyms. I think Florida got hit the hardest right out of the gate first.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. We were basically like the epicenter of COVID when it was like the scary point, the unknown. And immediately our gym got closed. A lot of cancellations, a lot of unsure situation, a lot of, just a mess. Everyone, I don't need to go into that. Everyone knows that. But the blessing in disguise was that we had put so much time and energy into the online program. Everybody needed an online program at that time. So people were like, what can you give me? This is what I have access to. This is what I can do. This is what I need help with.
And also like not spending so much time in the gym, we had time to actually like focus on this and kind of figure out what direction we wanted it to go. That was also around the time where we decided to make the switch to Train Heroic. We had like toyed with some of those other like apps, and like I've used a bunch of them just from different companies and whatever, and like some of them are just so lame. Like we really felt like Train Heroic kind of fit, our personalities. It's like a little more like hardcore, and like it just kind of worked. But then it's like, oh crap, so we have all these people, paying through this like one software, getting the programming through the website. How do we get everybody over to another one? So that was like the COVID project of like, thankfully we had time to kind of sit at home and just like work on that. Cause like, like now it's like our income, our gym's closed. We have like, literally our income to survive. And now we have to essentially cancel everybody and get them to hopefully resubscribe someplace else. So
you were like on your computer probably 10, 12 hours a day working on that, while I was literally on the phone for 10 hours a day. We put out this thing when we were first trying to get people to sign up and switch. If you sign up, you can get a phone call with Seth. Well, people just started flying in. I don't know why you want phone calls with me, but they did.
I think it was cool though, because like people who have no direction, like, and I think also like it was nice to connect with some of these people, like, people who like have known you for a long time. Like it was really neat, and I thought that was like a really cool thing that we had done. And like again with COVID, like we didn't have anywhere to be.
No excuse not to work on it and do that. So we hustled our butts off during COVID, and had Jump Ship actually become our primary source of income, and it was paying the bills and maybe a little above that at that point. So we felt pretty confident with it. And at the same time, we had a lot of time to reflect on the gym situation, and circling back to that, she mentioned a lot about like the community at that gym. The community was like amazing. Some of the best people I ever met in my life are down there, and I hope I get to continue to reconnect with them. But it was a very strong community that wasn't ours. We couldn't build it, and we certainly couldn't change it, which ended up being a really good thing. And one of our coaches, who clearly was the community leader at that time, she stepped up and wanted to purchase the gym, and she had been wanting the gym for a long time, so she was basically prepared to do that, and we worked something out to make it happen for her, and now she has made that gym like probably the most successful gym in Florida. She's
something else about that too. So like, when we found that this gym was for sale, we didn't know any of the members, we didn't know any of the coaches, and the previous owner had, she listed it privately because when, if a gym owner says that their gym's for sale, it's like mayhem. Like people lose their mind. Oh my God, they're leaving. So like, it was a very quiet thing where like, looking back on it, like we were never supposed to be the owners of that gym. Like it was supposed to go to the coach, Fernanda, who owns it now, like all along, like it should have been hers. But because it was like a secret, like quiet sale to try to protect the membership base, she was unaware that it was ever, available. So it kind of worked out and happened naturally the way that it like transitioned to her. Like, once we got in there and started to get to know them, it was obvious that like it should have gone to her and she had wanted it. But like, again, it's like super, if you've ever bought and sold gyms, like I understand exactly why it happened the way that it did. Because it is so dangerous the second you say that your gym's for sale. People like, your members just get so worried. They're looking for their new gym before they even give the new ownership an opportunity. So it made sense, but it was, it was like an extra step for the gym to essentially get to her.
But frankly, as much as COVID sucked, it actually provided a like transition for her to take it over in like a clean manner and
Right.
grow it back to well beyond what we were able to or the previous owner was able to. It's really amazing to see how well the gym's going now. It's awesome. But that leaves us basically without a gym at that point, an online
Without a
company.
house.
No, we had sold our house
We're living in an
mid-pandemic.
Airbnb.
A very small Airbnb with
Two
two
dogs.
dogs.
We sold everything. We sold everything. We had nothing.
We knew we were starting over at that point. We knew we had to. Florida just wasn't the right fit for us, and that gym just needed to be in other people's hands. So we had tossed around a lot of.
We sold your car.
Sold my. I didn't want to, but she made me. We
sold the car.
Both my cars.
We had literally one car, 2 dogs, 5 bags, and ourselves.
That's it.
That's it. And started driving, and first stop was Phoenix, Arizona, to my mother's house. Living back at home with your parents, like.
Do you want to end this session here?
Yeah, we'll stop there. Living with mom.
On our way to Phoenix.
Yep.